آزادی بیان،
言论自由
free speech.
Timur, you are credited with coining the term net neutrality. Tell us in the simplest possible terms what net neutrality is.
It's a pretty simple idea, which is accounted, I think, for its relative degree of acceptance, which is to say that the big carriers of information on the internet should treat everything they carry roughly the same. It's just a non-discrimination principle.
And do you
The
think
same way? Sorry, I'll say it's the same way. It's the same principle that says a hotel should make its rooms available to any guest with money. Same room, same rate. A taxi cab should carry you where you want to go and not take you to the gift store. That is the principle that, which common carriage is the original word, that informs net neutrality. If you get on the internet and you say, I want to go to place A, the carrier should take you to place A, not to place B, C, or the gift store.
Do you think it is now being significantly eroded?
I'd say it's a struggle. How's that? I think the last 10 years have had a number of successes and a number of failures, and it's more like an ongoing battle than a story of complete loss. In the United States, and I think in parts of Europe, the success, I think, would be on the norm side. That is to say, I think there is a reaction, and people have a way of expressing their reaction, which is really important, when there's discrimination against a website or slowing down websites.
Give us an example where you think.
I think that there's no way Netflix would have ever gotten started without net neutrality. I think it's also clear that Skype would not exist. We wouldn't be having this conversation without net neutrality, without there being a norm, and particularly on mobile. In fact, we know that it was the plan of the American mobile companies to cut Skype out once they moved to the iPhone and Android. That was the idea, that Skype should never be allowed to operate on these platforms. So there were reactions to those plans, normative and some legal. I think the Obama administration adopted the cause of net neutrality pretty early on by a speech by the candidate, Barack Obama. And so I count those as successes. It's hard for me to tell a story of woe and sadness when the President of the United States has personally dedicated himself to net neutrality. On the other hand, I do believe in all the countries where we see blocking and filtering, those are straightforward violations of net neutrality, and so there has been some losses as well. But it is more in the nature of an ongoing battle than in the nature of a complete wipeout or a complete victory.
Would you say that what's happened under the Obama administration is an example of public power in the form of the regulatory power constraining the illegitimate encroachment of a private power?
At its best. At its best.
For example, what the FCC has done, would you?
At its best. You know, different parts of government act in different ways. But I would say, and of course, government is the same government that proposed the SOPA, the Stop Online Piracy Act. So it's been a mixed bag, but I would say that occasionally government can do what I think it was originally intended to, which is act in the will of the people to create norms of free speech for large intermediaries to follow. And the net neutrality rules are not perfect in the United States, but are an example of that. They're an older tradition, in fact, and I hearken back to the telephone, the telegraph, where the government intervenes and say, you know, you have to treat everyone equally. There's almost some analogy, particularly in America, to civil rights laws, where in the 20th century, the United States said, to hotels, you have to serve black people. We know you don't like them, but you have to serve them when they're here on business or any other purpose. So the government can sometimes act to fight invidious discrimination, and that's what I think it's done over the last 4 years ago at times.